Well, howdy.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Excited to
Yeah,
be back at it.
it feels like it's been a while since we recorded because we banked a few episodes and then um yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and we've just had in our
things
professional
come
and
up.
personal lives, things been busy, but
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
we're
Yeppers.
ready to go.
What have I told you about yeppers?
Yeppers?
Yeah, don't use it. It's the opposite quote.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, things have been pretty busy for us. Um, but thanks for joining us today, or whenever you're listening to this. This is our podcast, Somewhat Diverted. And I am your host, Nancy, joined by,
Brando.
that's right. You sound the same like every time you say that.
Really?
Yeah, I could probably just snip that and then just not have
I'll
you
say
say it anymore.
Brando.
um, yeah, but so I just found out today that we're now on iHeartRadio, and
Oh,
soon we'll
cool.
be on Pandora. But we're on pretty much everywhere you subscribe to podcasts. So give us a listen and a subscribe. And also, we've started posting our videos of our podcasts on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search "Somewhat Diverted," and you should find us.
And now I
Okay.
don't just have to think about my voice and what I'm saying. I have to think about my posture and looking at the camera.
I'm not. I'm not worried about my posture. All I can see is my shoulders. They don't know. I'm in my pajama pants. I got my llama unicorn pajama pants.
Clearly not in a studio on this end, not a professional
Or
studio.
this end, but that's all right. We're just having a conversation. Who wants to have a conversation in a studio?
Yeah.
Actually, it might sound better. What have you got to drink today?
I got Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
Got a little ice, and I've just been pouring a can of it in there.
I've got a diet Dr. Pepper with a little bit of vanilla in there.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm quitting the sugary stuff and mostly water.
You can cut this out if you want to. I don't know if you want this in here, but I've been watching your videos about that
On the YouTube?
Pretty impressed.
Yeah.
You're up to day 21 or something, I think.
Yeah, by the time this, video posted really quick, but by the time this posts, I'll be at 22.
That's right.
But some of the other videos we've recorded, because we were recording kind of out of order and all sorts of weird Scowampus ways. Anyway, but I'm up to a liter to 2 liters of water a day and diet drinks. Very few diet drinks because I can't stand them that much.
Do you feel different?
I'm sleeping better.
You mentioned that in one of your videos. You said you go to bed at 8 and wake up at 4 or 5.
I need to stop going to bed so early.
That right there is not the Miles I know. I have known for a long time.
I don't know who this Miles character is.
But that's great. I think it's great.
Yeah. If you want to check that out, it's at on YouTube at Nancy Coke, and I'm going to be adding something different coming up soon
on that channel.
On that channel, so that's a teaser for that channel.
All right,
a little something different on my road to a somewhat healthier lifestyle.
Awesome.
But let's jump in and start talking about today's movie. And can you hear that music? I swear I can hear music.
Nothing on this end.
Okay. I'm going to have to cut this down. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sure I can still hear everything. Yeah, I think so. The movie we're doing today is one of my favorites. It should be in my top 10, but if it's not in my top 10, it's probably pretty close to a top 10.
Yeah. I don't think I really thought about this one either when we made our top 10s. We're going to have to let those evolve over time as we really think about it and refine it.
And we have a special, we'll tease it now, a special episode coming up for episode 10. We do a little top 10 list. We've already recorded it because we were kind of excited about the idea. But
you know, I'm the one that told you to give me a list of what episodes we'd already done so that I wouldn't talk about things that we had already done.
Whoops.
And I messed up.
But no, it's all right. It's good to tease that. We got an episode coming up. So this is episode 8. And we got another one coming up. TJ will join us for episode 9. We're going to talk about a video game. And then episode 10 will be our top 10 entertainment lists, not like a top 10 overall amazing movies, the most cinematically breathtaking, but just like what we find entertaining. So look forward to that for episode 10.
Right.
But this one I didn't think about, and I should have. It should probably be in my top 10, but it didn't. It just didn't come to mind, so I guess that means it's not. It's got to be 11 then. But the movie we're talking about today was written in the 70s, and filmed in the 70s, written in the 70s, written and directed by the lead actor. Or no, he didn't direct it. Written by the lead actor. Nominated for an Academy Award. Several Academy Awards, actually.
Who at the time when he became the lead actor was not the name he is today.
Definitely not. But I think it was like nominated for Best Picture, nominated for Best Supporting Actor, in one of my favorite characters in cinematic lore, Paulie. I love Paulie. But the movie we're talking about today is none other than Rocky, the first one.
That's right. The final countdown. Working on my sound effects from this end.
That one was a little better than some of the other ones you've done.
You know, Paulie, real quick. What's funny is I knew him. Let's see. I was probably a little older when I first saw Rocky. Oh, definitely wasn't alive when it came out, but I was maybe even 10 or something. So it might have been early 90s before I first saw Rocky. And when I saw Paulie, I recognized him from the old 1960s Batman show with Adam West, or Batman movie.
Not Paulie.
Isn't that him?
No, you're thinking of Mick.
Oh, Mickey. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm thinking of Mickey. Right. Paulie is his coach. Huh.
Paulie is like his friend.
That's right.
Mick, drunkard.
Mick. When I saw him, I recognized him from the Batman movie.
Yeah. Who'd he play?
The Joker. Right?
No.
Oh, Penguin?
Penguin, yeah.
Penguin. That's right. Penguin.
Do you want me to edit these out?
We can edit the mistakes out for sure. Or just show them that we're real. That's right.
Yeah. I didn't actually see him in the Batman Mick. Anyway, Burgess Meredith. I didn't see him in that Batman movie until much later, after I'd seen Rocky, and then that's Mick. What's he doing? Must be training Rock, helping him catch chickens. Oh, that's Rocky 2, catching chickens. But Rocky was like the first sports movie, I think, to win an Oscar, or at least been nominated for one. It can't be that. It's got to be the first one, because Chariots of Fire was probably before this, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be before this. That's probably. But cut this out again, but I think that was probably early 70s or 60s even.
Chariots of Fire?
Don't you think?
I don't know. I just know parts of the movie.
I'm mostly just thinking of kind of the film quality compared to Rocky.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Rocky. Um, for those that haven't seen it, it's definitely a recommended must watch for, I think, everybody. It is about a boxer, and it's actually kind of a it's a true-ish story. It's not based on any one person in particular. It is kind of roughly based on Muhammad Ali, who used to kind of go out and look for other people to fight um, that weren't as well known, just to give them a chance. So that story in and of itself was kind of um, there's one specific story that I was reading about that actually inspired Sylvester Stallone to write the movie. I can't remember his name, Frank or something like that.
Like a real-time boxer.
Yeah, that had a chance to fight Apollo Muhammad Ali, and just got pummeled by Muhammad Ali. But in one of the rounds, ended up like he just kept coming and coming after him, and regardless of how many times he got hit, in one of the later rounds, he ended up knocking up Muhammad Ali down, and Muhammad Ali eventually won. But yeah,
It's I don't know. I mean, just boxing in general is so brutal. I just feel like it's the perfect medium or perfect vehicle for the simple story that is Rocky, of just kind of
mm-hmm.
overcoming obstacles and against all odds kind of thing.
And maybe that's what I like about it, is it's kind of an inspiring movie. It's just this as you hear at the beginning of the movie, people calling him as the older lady calls him a bum. You're a bum. Mick calls him a bum a lot of the time. Just this, and he even expresses this to Adrian. Talia Shire is her name, who does a great job as Adrian. But he expresses to her that all he wants to do, because no one's ever gone the distance with Creed. All I want to do is go the distance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of inspiring. Just some no-name guy gets a shot.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what even behind the movie, Sylvester's thing was kind of this no-name guy. He had connections already, but he wasn't a big-time actor or anything, and like a guaranteed win for the studio. And he had to take a big old pay cut so the studio would agree to it, to allow himself to star in it, right? Not instead of another big actor at the time. But so the kind of behind the scenes, that kind of parallels the story of Rocky as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of if it were a joke, it would be a double entendre. It's kind of a two sides to it. But let's talk about kind of our favorite things with the movie. Like I mentioned earlier, like Paulie is one of my favorite characters throughout all of the Rockies. Paulie's one of my favorites, especially in one of the later Rockies. We're not going to talk about all of them. We just want to focus on the one. But I think it was Rocky Balboa. I can't remember. When they're talking about Adrian having died, and Paulie kind of goes away for a second, and shows him painting to kind of get away. He's just like I feel like he's an authentic character. Yeah. The first few movies, he's just a drunkard. All he's looking for is, and he kind of is looking for a chance. Like he doesn't really have much. He's got his house and he's got Adrian to kind of wait on him. He doesn't have much else, and all he's looking for is a shot to kind of get out of the slums or get out of where he is.
Yeah.
But I really like Paulie, and Burt Young is the actor that plays him. Just does a masterful job as Paulie. Like I've seen him in a couple other things, but I only ever see him as Paulie in my head.
He is a cool blue collar kind of guy. That's true. Perfect actor for that. And I've been to Philadelphia one time, and we didn't even go see the stairs where Rocky climbs up and at the end of his little workout montage. But we did go through the old downtown, which is where you have to go to get the famous cheesesteaks. There's a couple places down there.
Yeah.
And you see, I think we passed a statue or two, Rocky. Like they've really embraced it even today. And anyway, the whole town and the characters are all like just perfectly wholesome, blue collar, hardworking people. And I never really thought about that with Paulie. And but yeah, they're all kind of just down on your luck, not much hope for big time success or anything.
Like I mean, even the what would you call him? The Bookie that Rocky's working for, Gazzo, I think is his name.
Yeah, like in the beginning, he's kind of
he's not like a big time. He's just a small time bookie who does okay for himself. But
that was Rocky's first job at the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah, breaking people. It's supposed to break people's thumbs.
Guy. Yeah, and he can't break him. But
they have some wonderful interactions. Those two, I love them. Even with the driver is always really rude to Rocky, but the interactions between how do you spell Del Rio? He's tell him get a yard from whatever, and how do you spell Del Rio? Look it up in the dictionary, Rock.
I know that I've said this before, and this movie came out in the 70s. I mostly said this about the movies we've talked about in the 80s, but one thing I really appreciate with these movies around that time, so maybe I could say mid 70s to late 80s, is it seems like the focus was on the story more than the effects, the special effects and all that. So I just like there's so many quotable movies from that time because it's all about the script and the screenplay and the kind of the where they're at, the setting, I don't know.
Yeah, I was reading a bunch of like trivia pieces about it just to get my mind back into the frame of Rocky, because it's been a little while since I've seen it, although I've probably seen it. I know my catches it like half a dozen times. I've probably seen this 15 to 20 times, so I just needed to get back in there. And I was reading some of the scenes they just kind of had to shoot last minute, like the ice rink scene, on their date, where there's just the one guy on the Zamboni. You guys can't be in here. Apparently there were supposed to be hundreds of extras in there and like it'd be a big old scene, but when Sylvester Stallone and Talia Shire showed up, there was just one guy, so they just pieced it together really quick. And that's one of the,
which makes it even better. Yeah,
that's like a huge memorable scene, is him running around the ice and her skating, and him talking about how he was told as a kid, you better use your body because you don't got much brains. And Talia or Adrian says, well, I was told the opposite. And what do you mean? What do you mean you're told the opposite? Rocky.
It's anyway. So interesting to learn those kinds of things and how they become the iconic moments. I don't know if you feel this way in teaching, but it's almost like the unplanned things you say, the jokes you say that you didn't really think about ahead of time, or the little activity you do that was last minute and thought maybe this would be fun. A couple of those things the kids have told me, oh, that was the thing I remember, that was so funny, or so
not the ones that you plan so hard at,
not the big ones you plan,
right? Well, so I like Paulie. Who's your favorite character?
That doesn't seem fair, but I would say Rocky.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
He is
the main character.
Some protagonists kind of carry, or you have to put up with a few things to still like them. You're like, oh yeah, they're kind of this way. Rocky doesn't have anything really that rubs me the wrong way. From the very beginning, he's pretty gentle. I mean, he's at once like the, he's the buff guy, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the same time period. Arnold was so huge though, but I mean, Sylvester Stallone was huge. He's tough. He's strong. But then he's also pretty much a softie in the movie, and I don't think there's anything really about him that rubs me the wrong way.
There is one scene that we probably should mention where Adrian goes to his apartment, um, and she keeps saying that she needs to leave and she needs to go, but he doesn't let her. Like,
This is a baby it's cold outside situation.
It's a baby it's cold outside situation, which you watch it now and it's a little bit awkward.
Maybe
I don't know how to even talk about it.
Well, I guess the good news is they end up getting married and they end up
right
being in love. So it was love. It wasn't just
right.
But in any case, he's not cocky about his strength and
no,
or his wins and all that.
He just comes off as a regular person. He's always trying to think up new jokes.
Yeah.
To tell Adrian to try to make her day a little bit better. And
yeah. And you know what? I don't know how you would rank all the Rocky movies. I know we're focusing on the first one, but I did enjoy one of the later ones, probably also the Rocky Balboa one, or there's a Rocky Balboa and a Balboa.
I'll tell you which one it is.
I can't remember. It's probably like mid 2000s, whatever that one was. And
yeah, it's Rocky Balboa. Yeah,
he owns the restaurant, and he's just kind of going around talking to the patrons and stuff, and just still a normal guy. Everyone's so excited to meet him, but he's kind of shy about his success. And anyway,
so I think you talked about the story and things like that. There's a lot of little conversations that Rocky has that I just love, like the conversation he has with the girl that he's walking home, that younger girl that's with the boys and smoking, and just that conversation. Just that conversation. Well, you don't smoke because it makes your breath smell like garbage. Well, maybe I like garbage. No one likes garbage. Well, it gives you yellow teeth. Maybe I like yellow teeth. And he just has that conversation, and then at the end of it, it's supposed to be all this kind of this, listen to me. I've been through it. You got to try to live for the right reasons, or you don't want to gain a reputation.
Don't you think? I mean, you think of the other kind of buff dudes of the 70s, 80s, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, movies like Conan the Barbarian or Commando or Predator and things like that. I mean, that was all about muscles. That's pretty much
muscles, explosions,
about, right? Explosions. But Rocky's got a ton of heart, which was kind of unique for an action movie, essentially, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a drama, but
he has a hard time getting his point across, like trying to get that out there. I think he struggles with that, and that's what I like. You mentioned the writing, and I mentioned a little bit. Did a very poor job at it, but he struggles trying to get it out there. But in the end, he still kind of gets his point out there, so you can see what he's trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, and this movie, I mean, the movie's endured at least, what would that be, 40 plus years as being a pretty iconic movie.
Yeah.
Ones that even kids nowadays, I think, are aware of and know pretty well.
If they don't know the movie, I'm sure they know the name Rocky, or they know of the theme song, or they know of Yo Adrian.
Yeah. Yeah, especially since some sequels are still coming out now with more frequency.
Right. With the Creed movies, yeah.
Or spin-offs, I suppose. But yeah, what else makes it entertaining and lasted this long, do you think?
Well, you mentioned the focus on the story and that, and not so much on special effects. It's definitely not that great on special effects. Like if you're watching the fight for an actual fight, they don't always hit each other. You can see many times where they miss. So it's not that. You're watching it for the dialogue. You're watching it for some of the big grandiose scenes, not the small minute little things or minuscule ones. So to me, I can think of like running up the stairs, running through the town, just walking along the pier after he was supposed to break that guy's thumbs, walking into Paulie's house for the first time. Just some of those scenes And some of the lines that he has just kind of live on. I feel like for me, where we're recording this close to Thanksgiving, and this will be posted close to Thanksgiving. Like one of his lines is about Thanksgiving. I don't know if you remember it when they're going on their date, their first date, Adrian and Rocky. She says, "But it's Thanksgiving," and he says, "Yeah, to you. To me, it's Thursday." And then he tries to recount the last time he had turkey. He's like, maybe it's been a couple years ago, and he like mentions the store he might have gotten it at. They were having some special and some plate special or something, but
yeah,
something like that. Just kind of, I don't know. It's just very well written, and they do an amazing job acting. I was going to say fantastic again. I've been doing a good job not saying it.
He's off the sugar and the fantastic.
And the fantastic sugar. I feel like whoever was the casting director, they knocked it out of the park. They probably wanted bigger stars, and I feel like that might have made the movie worse. Because if you get a movie about some no-name person that's trying to make it big or get his chance, and then you have a star, you're already going in thinking, well, they're already a star, and then it's in their subconscious, and it doesn't work very well with the story.
I feel that way about a lot of TV shows too, when you're like, wow, this show really works or doesn't. And a lot of times the ones that really work are just a whole new cast of people and that are perfectly cast and done really well. And at that time, I mean, Burgess Meredith was known. And I don't know, probably Paulie, what was his name?
Burt Young. Yeah.
But
Burt Young.
Yeah. But I think at the time, for the most part, it was a pretty fresh-faced cast. And and that movie, I mean, other entertaining things about it is it's such a formulaic thing, and every single sequel has been pretty formulaic, and you still get the same montages of working out, and a lot of times, you know, Rocky's got the crappy equipment, and the other person has, thinking of like Rocky 4, where he has crappy equipment and
he's training in the mountains.
Yeah, lifting logs.
Dolph Lundgren's got all the fancy stuff. Yeah, the steroids too. They got to show the steroids.
Yeah, and the thing that measures his punch strength and all kinds of stuff. But they're so formulaic. They're simple. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one you can easily digest, and it makes you think, and it's good.
Yeah. I if we were to rate them all, Rocky, the first one is my favorite. I would probably give it a nearly a perfect score. If the acting on the fights was better, it would definitely have a perfect score. But it's by far one of my favorite Rockies. And just a spoiler alert, it's not in my top 10, sadly. It should have been.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Like I said, that can evolve over time.
Yeah.
It's also left us with one of the greatest memes of all time. Have you seen
the Rocky doing the thing?
Green Pepper Rocky?
Oh, the green. Feel bad. We should make fun because that was a birth thing that happened. He used the clamps. Did you know what happened to him?
Oh no.
They used the clamps to try to get him out, and that pinched a nerve or something in his face.
Oh. Well, it's become iconic.
Yeah.
You know, and it's worked well for him. So, but that scene, doesn't it freeze right there, even at the end? Or I don't know if
it freezes with him just
like that,
kind of yelling out. I get it mixed up with all of them because they're all pretty similar, like you said.
Yeah.
I got to tell my favorite joke. It actually comes from Rocky 2. Can I tell it?
Yeah. Is it school appropriate?
It's no, I wouldn't tell it in school. Just kidding. But It's in Rocky, and Rocky's rated what, PG-13 probably.
I think PG, the original one.
But anyway, they're looking at houses, and the real estate agent asked him about condominiums, and Rocky says, "I don't know, I don't use them." He's just a lovable, stupid guy,
Yeah,
basically.
lovably dense. Yeah. And his voice, oh man, I mean, can you imagine any other voice other than, "Yeah, to you, but to me it's Thursday"?
Yeah, no, nope. Well, what would you rate it? I mean, that's my favorite Rocky movie by a long shot. But what would you give it on our somewhat diverted scale?
Well, so many options on this highly scientific scale.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, are we allowed numbers at all, or has it got to be an adjective? Because
I prefer adjectives, but you can give it a number. You can say 7 diverted. It means as much as startling diverted.
I would say a super majority of diversion.
Oh, that's like
political term.
Super majority of diversion. Okay, I like it. Do we have to recount that? Voting humor.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with a super majority of diversion.
You're going to make combining these difficult. You got super majority and then whatever I say. I got to think of some fantastic, said it, adjective here. I would say famously diverting.
All right.
Because there's a lot of it that's memorable. Even if you've never seen the movie, you've probably heard some of the lines and heard some of the things from it. And the story of the underdog is kind of a trope that's been played a lot. I wouldn't say Rocky was the first one, but it's one of the better ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they made a very pure job of it.
Let's calculate that together.
And
it comes out as very diverting. Well, it's a very diverting movie. I would agree with that. Computers, you did a fantastic job.
I mean, if you had every movie ever made in DVD or some form where it's sitting up on your shelves, Rocky's just one that is useful in all kinds of moods and situations. You can pop it in and enjoy it every time.
Yep, I would concur. And with that astute observation, my drink is basically empty.
So is mine.
And so there's that.